Toastmaster Jeff Sanders has embarked on a new career that offers adventure after adventure after adventure. A few weeks ago, Jeff told us what his next adventure would be, which was leading a tour up to the Canadian Rockies, and we all wanted to sign up and go. I think we still would. It's a wonderful trip. Well, the trip is finished, and here is Jeff with speech number 6, the vocal variety speech. And the title of this speech is My First 7-Day Coach Tour with 50 Aussies.
54.
54.
Thank you. This is my good friend April. But before I get started, I have to ask. I couldn't believe what I heard this morning on the news. But that YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter are joining forces. What a conglomeration that is. And they struggle with the title, but they're calling it Eat With Face. It was with something like that I tried to start my day on the coach. So they laugh. April is the one that introduced me to the school that teaches you how to do what we were doing, leading groups of people all over the country and coaches and touring national parks and cities. So, school's called Right TMI. I think I talked about it before, International Tour Management Institute. So she talked me into going to the school because I used to work for Roger Taylor at Taylor Mortgage. And then I got in touch with these people in Seattle and got this job, and they needed someone else. And we thought it was going to be all Chinese people, because the guy that put the tour together was this Chinese guy in Sydney, Australia. And so I said, I got the perfect person. So anyway, I got April the job to come along, because there were 4 coaches. This Chinese guy that put it together, he was the leader of the Chinese group of people, some of them about half, right, didn't speak English. And then the rest were all Aussies. And there were 2 coaches of, just for general speaking, blue-collar Australians that have saved a lot to get this trip done, and this guy offered a fantastic price. And then there was one really fancy, brand-new coach. Our coaches were kind of old and weren't so great. And who gets the fancy coach and the premium people at the best hotels? April. I get her the job. She gets the great people, the great coach. Ours is overheating going up the hill. We got to turn the air conditioner off, pop the vents in the ceiling. Oh my goodness, at times it was a nightmare, and there were some things that went on that people were pretty unhappy with. But all in all, where we got to go and what we did was fantastic. And so I could talk about it forever. This is what I looked at. This is what I looked at every day, every morning, and all day long, and it was really fun. And I tell you what, Australians are a kick in the pants. They are so much fun, and they have such a great attitude. And you all helped me prepare, and I gave my speech to talk about all this, and it was because of this that I think that I actually did better than I was expecting, and I think everyone was quite happy. You'd all have been proud of me. I was picking up a mic and talking like that's all I'd ever done all my life. I even surprised myself. It was really fun. I really got comfortable with it, and it was a lot of fun. We started out going to a place called Harrison Hot Springs. I don't know if you've ever been there, but if you haven't been there, oh my goodness, what a beautiful place that is. And on the second day, we had to feed it, I guess that's not a great word, but 8.5 hours on the road to get to Jasper, going up what they call the Coquihalla Highway and the Yellowhead Highway, just driving all day. I showed a movie, I played some music. You can only do so many things. But before we got to Jasper, this is the next thing we saw, walking on the side of the road. It was so cool, because they all said, I just want to see a bear. All I want to do is see a bear. It was so funny, because here we go, and we're not even to Jasper. And walking on the side of the road is this grizzly bear just sauntering right, and he looked at the one driver and kind of snarled, and he put his head down, and he just kept walking. Everybody got a picture of him. It was great. And 3 days in a row, without getting into all the stories, because I don't have time, because Barb's going to hit you with a light before we're done. But anyway.
You got 4 minutes.
3 days in a row, we saw 3 different bears. One of them was, we were going down the Ice Fields Parkway, which is when you go from Jasper to Banff, and you go to the, the ice fields, and you go to the water, Athabasca Falls, all these waterfalls. It's just such beautiful country. And these two bicyclers, they have hostels for the bicyclers. There's 5 of them all the way down the highway, so they can go so far and then camp out for the night in the hostel. And they were riding along the side of the road, and along the left side of the road was a black bear, big black bear. And they're riding over here, and he's walking over there, and all of a sudden he just crosses the road and goes right between their bikes. Just walked right between them. And they stopped, and he went down the hill, and they were taking pictures of him, and we talked to him later. And it was interesting. So when you go down that particular highway, the biggest event for them was to get on one of the, what was the name of the special name of these coaches?
They're explorers.
They're special-made explorer coaches that go on the ice fields, on the glacier itself. And that was their treat. And April came up with an idea through a tour. She's done this tour before one time. And so when they all got off, we had a bottle of rye whiskey and these little cups. And they got off the coach and we poured a little teeny shot of this rye whiskey, and they thought that was just the greatest thing. And they're on this glacier, and so it was really a kick. This is an example of some of the other scenery we saw along there. This is called Moraine Lake. I don't know if you've ever been up there, but this is just one of many. And then I have a couple of stories to tell, and April has a story to tell. But, beautifulness. It's absolutely, it's just, and the pictures don't do it justice.
It used to be on the Canadian $20 bill. It was from 1969 to 1979.
So
This picture was on the back.
I'm full of stories, but this one just cracked me up, so I got to share it. One of the guys on my coach, I had 54, and the coach holds 56 people, so 54, we were full. And some of the seats weren't all that comfortable and so on. But anyway, this guy, Kevin Donovan, he's 74 years old. He's about this tall, he's about April's height. And his wife was about twice his size. And they were the nicest people in the world. And so we're hiking up this thing called Johnson Canyon. It's a beautiful river where you go up to a waterfall, and then you can go across the bridge at the waterfall and go through this cave and stand like right in front of the waterfall. So I'm sweeping the hill to make sure everybody on my coach was down the hill, and here's Kevin. I'm like, Kevin, slow down, let's go. And he's like, well, I don't want to be late. Everybody was always on time. If I said be there at 5:15, they were there at 5:13. And when I was at 5:16, they gave me a bad time because I was late. They were. Anyway, there's a lady coming up this hill, and this is a busy, you've got people. There's a million people come here in the summertime. So this is a 2-person wide, maybe 3 walkway, and they're going back and forth, and they've had to support it with steel and so on. And this lady's pushing this 3-wheeled cart, and she's got a purse on it. She's got a purse on it. She really wasn't using it to support herself, but it was there for security. And this huge purse on there, and she was dressed up nicely. It wasn't the typical person walking up this hill. She was probably 64, 65, and her hair was made up. She had this big, colorful scarf on, and she's very proper looking. And she was pushing this purse, and the purse was huge. And Kevin goes, and she was Australian, didn't expect this, and he goes, "You need a motor for that thing?" She goes, "Yes, or something up my arse to keep me going." I'm like, oh my goodness. I laughed all the way down the hill. It's the last thing I expected to come out of her mouth. We got a red light. We didn't get to talk about the Moose game. Consequently, anyway, it was wonderful traveling with April, getting to do this together, and we enjoyed the Australians so much. The tour needed some fine-tuning the way this guy put it together. We should have spent more time in some places, but we just had a great time.